coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. As construction continues at the site of Dory's house in Swift Current, the Kiwanis Club has stepped forward with a major donation for the Southwest Youth Emergency Shelter. The Zika virus continues to be in the news around the world, with concerns for individuals being bitten by the Aedes mosquito. As the temperatures heat up for another summer season, skin safety should be top of mind for all ages. Thanks for joining us here today. As construction continues at the site of a new youth shelter in Swift Current, the local Kiwanis Club has come through with a major donation. We find out more in today's top story. As construction continues at the site of Dory's house in Swift Current, the Kiwanis Club has stepped forward with a major donation for the Southwest Youth Emergency Shelter. A check presentation for $20,000 was made at the site on Tuesday, much to the amazement and gratitude of the local committee.
It's amazing. It's really exciting for all of us to be able to have this happen and have such community support for a very important issue in Swift Current and for the whole Southwest. We've had support not only locally but regionally, so it's just words can't express how grateful we are for it.
A donation which Kiwanis Club President Larry Johnson says is the largest since he's been involved with the group, and a project the Kiwanis are pleased to support.
The Kiwanis Club has always been known for helping the youth of today, and with people like Charmaine and Tom and Betty, and it was a good fit for us, and with all the people and businesses and volunteers that are helping, it's a no-brainer to get involved, and it's been special.
Additional funding, which will be added to the pool of dollars already received from other project supporters, for this new facility set to open in December.
Tom is saying that he intends to turn the key over to us beginning of October, by mid-October for sure. So it's just amazing, considering that we had the sod turning at the beginning of July. It's really great. And then from that, what we will do is hire and train staff so that all staff are fully trained before the shelter actually opens, and looking at a start date for accepting youth as the beginning of December. So tight timelines, but yeah, with all of this going on, it's certainly doable.
Construction of Dory's house has become a reality through donated labor and supplies from various contractors and other suppliers, plus numerous cash donations. Once open, Dory's house in Swift Current will have room to accommodate up to 8 youth from across southwest Saskatchewan.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
Hi, we're the Von Trapp Children,
and you're watching Southwest TV News.
Another exciting season of Market Square returns to downtown Swift Current, featuring live entertainment, fresh garden produce, crafts, and other unique vendors. Market Square, every Saturday at the corner of Central and Chaplin. Proudly presented by the City of Swift Current and Standard Motors, along with Innovation Credit Union and Southwest TV News. Well, if you're planning a vacation south of the border, health officials are advising you to take precautions against the Zika virus. The Zika virus continues to be in the news around the world, with concerns for individuals being bitten by the Aedes mosquito, especially pregnant women and the possibility of birth defects in their newborns. And if you're planning a vacation to the Caribbean, Central America, and now Florida, health experts are suggesting you take precautions.
Well, certainly it is a big risk, and as you correctly said, in Florida they've now confirmed 10 cases, human cases of Zika, so it's certainly well established there. And we know before this in the Caribbean and Central America, Mexico, and South America, it's been there. So for travelers, certainly be aware that where you're going there is this infection, and there's other infections too. There's the chikungunya virus that's out there. There's dengue virus out there. So mosquitoes are a very big issue with spread of certain viral diseases.
Protecting yourself against the Zika virus is similar in many ways to that of the West Nile virus, which includes using a DEET repellent.
Being careful, especially with the evening times, because that's very much a time when you don't think much about the mosquitoes, but you're enjoying an outdoor barbecue, and they'll be feasting on you at your ankles. But the DEET product certainly will work. Using the clothing cover, as I mentioned before, light clothing, loose fitting, but at least covering up or enabling you to cover up, especially in the evenings or the early mornings. Those are all good precautions. Making sure you don't leave windows open unless you have good mesh there, same with doors. So those kinds of precautions are very, very useful, and the DEET certainly will work.
If you have any further questions on the Zika virus or health concerns over recent travel to affected areas, contact your local public health office. The August forecast is calling for more hot and humid days, and you're again being reminded to protect yourself from UV rays. As the temperatures heat up for another summer season, skin safety should be top of mind for all ages. Whether you're out for a leisurely walk or a day at the beach, protecting yourself from the sun should always be a top priority. According to the Canadian Cancer Society, skin cancer is the most common of all cancers in Canada, with close to 7,000 cases of malignant melanoma diagnosed each year. Skin cancer is also the most preventable of all cancers, and it starts with sunscreen.
Slapping on some SPF 30 sunscreen is really important, making sure that it's broad spectrum and water resistant if possible, to make sure that it blocks out the UVA and B rays that may be harmful to our skin. The other tip is to apply sunscreen about 20 minutes before we go outside, because it takes some time for the sunscreen to fully absorb. And not only that, but to reapply, so every 2 hours. But read the instructions on the bottle, because it may vary from sunscreen to sunscreen. Also check the expiry date, because if it is expired, then you may want to toss that out and grab a new one.
And there are several other ways to protect yourself from the sun's burning UV rays, including knowing what the UV index is for the day.
Typically, it's when the UV is 3 or higher is when we want to slip on some clothing that covers our skin, slap on some sunscreen, slap on that hat, seek shade, and slide on those sunglasses. Also, if it's between the hours of 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., that's typically when the sun is at its strongest. The UV would be really strong.
More information on sun safety and skin cancer can all be found online. Well, this wraps up another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at southwesttvnews.com. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.